Kembali hero-hero Senahan di sini. Masih lanjut ceritanya yang sadis itu, masih berlanjut sekarang. Kayaknya ini gilirannya Ayumi yang disiksa. Ayumi ngambil ingatan cerita dari si Yuki hantunya yang ditolong tadi. Masih berlanjut. Sambil kayaknya diseling-seling sama satu si laporannya itu. Jadi langsung masuk, ayo. Aku penasaran gitu. With my blindfold removed, the sight that appeared before me was more horrific than anything I could possibly have imagined. The person staring back at me, brandishing a bloodsoaked pair of shaving scissors, wasn't the large man from earlier at all. It was one of the children. It was a little girl, her face dyed red with the blood of her victims. She was staring intently at me with soulless grey eyes, and then she just stared deeply. She was opening and closing bloodied scissors over and over again, and the sound kept echoing through the room. Then she took those two rusty, terribly bloodsoaked blades and slowly brought them closer and closer to my left eye. The third victim was stabbed in the left eye an indeterminate number of times, until her eyeball became soap-like in the consistency. She was eventually just left like that, slowly bleeding to death in her horrible agony. Strangely, it was only after this mutilation had already been inflicted that the killer went back and severed the victim's tongues. Learning the truth about these proceedings is shocking even to me, and makes it nearly impossible to accept the murder as anything but a monster. And bearing witness to every moment of this was a 7-year-old girl named Sachiko. In many ways, she's the most pitiable and long-suffering of them all. But it was through her tearful, frightened testimony that Yoshikazu Yanagiori was officially charged. Now, going back to the hunt for information on this unfortunate girl's whereabouts, it was her words that ultimately led to Yoshikazu's sentencing. Therefore, it comes as no real surprise that sensitive information pertaining to her and her family would be withheld. That's to be expected. What's not expected, however, is that there's not even the slightest trace of this information left to find. It's as if it simply never existed. Therefore, I cannot help but consider alternate possible explanations, and I remind you, this is mere conjecture. But one question keeps nagging at the back of my mind. Was Yoshikazu Yanagiori really the murderer of the 3 victims? Is it possible this crime was not actually perpetrated by him at all? Think about it. In his final days, Yoshikazu was incapable of communicating with others through speech, and despite his childlike reversion, he'd always been a personable and friendly man. As the saying goes, he wouldn't have hurt a fly. All his relatives, friends, and neighbors confirmed as much, shocked to hear that such a kindly man could commit this unconscionable atrocities. He certainly had no motive for the crime either. There was nothing for him to gain from it. Then again, he may simply have lost his mind. Look at his father. It was around this same time that Principal Takamine Yanagihori suddenly began speaking in tongues and acting in a most peculiar way. Not to mention scribbling incomprehensible gibberish all over his walls, as if possessed. He seemed frightened of someone and would often be found crouching in the corner of his office, whining and stressing when visitors came by. If he could wind up in such a beleaguered state with no warning, then perhaps so too could his son. I believe that we're looking at a curse far more powerful than anything man could devise. From the time it opened its doors to the day it closed them forever. Heavenly House Elementary School's sealed basement room has existed as some form of cursed ground. And to find the underlying cause, we must go back beyond the infamous kidnapping and murder incident. Back a whole 20 years, I believe I may have found a clue that could shed some light on the situation. It may be a bit far-fetched as let's go, but it is a lead nonetheless. Regrettably, since Heavenly House was not only closed down but demolished altogether, and another school built in its place, it's no longer possible to investigate the basement room directly. But my protege has found what may be the next best thing. Something that could make the impossible possible once more. Preparations are being made to pursue this lead even now.
詳しくは次回の連載にてお伝えしたいと思う。楽しみにお待ちいただきたい。
Kaget saya. Akhirnya coy selesai. Chapter 5. Perjalanan panjang loh. Yap, chapter 4 selesai. Aduh, bacanya panjang banget. Yang bagian akhir itu penjelasan dari semuanya, dan ternyata Sachiko lah pembunuhnya, bukan si siapa tadi, Yoshikazu, tapi Sachiko-nya itu yang dia monsternya. Ternyata dia bukan anak kecil biasa tapi monster. Oke, sekian dulu sampai kali ini, sampai ini ya, saya sampai chapter 4 ya. Next time record langsung chapter 5, mungkin jadi last chapter of the content terakhir. Jadi ya hitung-hitung udah jalan sampai 50 chapter itu, 50 itu gini, 50 gini ya, balik ini 50 ya, udah sangat jauh banget. Aduh, ini banyak teks, jadi nanti sambil aku translate, sambil aku pahami bahasanya juga agak nggak tahu artinya, jadi bantuan Google Translate akan membantuku juga ya. Aku nggak tahu mau ngomong apa lagi ya. So thank you for everything, thank you for watching, thank you for staying. Terima kasih telah mengklik atau apalah, sudah mau visit or something like that. I hope kalian semua bahagia, sehat selalu, dan sejahtera, dan Evan selalu happy. Oke, sekian chapter 4. Sudah berjalan yang sangat jauh. So thank you for watching. God bless you all. Peace out.